Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today to introduce a weird video. So originally what I wanted to do with this video was to try some Pat McGrath makeup for the first time and on camera put it on and give you my reaction, whether it's a wow, this is great, this is totally worth the money, or what the fuck is this is a disappointment. So that's what I actually filmed last week, and I will get to that. You will see me trying on some of the makeup and sort of experiencing it for the first time. But the problem with the end of that video was that, which I have cut out, is that I was sort of on the fence about what I thought about the formula. So there was some things I liked about it, there were other things I didn't like about it, and I just felt that it required more testing. So what I ended up doing was over 5 days, today is the 5th day, 5 days in total, not 5 days consecutively. I have been trying all the shades in this new Mothership palette. I've also been trying the lipsticks, and I really wanted to sort of let you know how I felt throughout the process trying different eyeshadows. So that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna sound a little bit jumbled. There's gonna be a lot of check-ins here and there, different days, different makeup. And then right at the end, I will let you know how I feel about this palette after using every shade and after using it with different bases and after using it in different ways and letting you know, is this worth the money? So let's get on to it. Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today for testing Pat McGrath makeup for the first time. I've never used any of her makeup and I bought some the other week. It was one of their Mothership palettes, the new release, and I thought, look, I've been wanting to buy one of the palettes for a long time, but there wasn't one palette that really sort of like made me go take my money. Like I was like, I like a couple of shades from that one, I like a couple of shades from that one, I don't want to buy them all. So when this palette came out, and I'll put a photo on the screen, I was like, okay, this is a kind of color scheme that I can get behind. I like the mattes, I like the shimmers, I like the duochrome shimmers. They're the ones that I found interesting from her past palettes, so this is the one I'm going to buy. So I did. I am going to say that shipping to Australia, some people were saying that they'd received their orders in 3 days, and I have no doubt about that. I saw some people posting on Instagram stories and I'm like, damn it. But ours took, so I ordered with Hayley, ours took nearly 2 weeks. So for some reason, our order took forever, which was really annoying because when you're paying $15 US for shipping, you sort of expect shipping to be a bit better than 2 weeks to wait for it. And we were very like anxious about getting it because we've been wanting to try it for a long time. So what I'm doing today is I'm putting it on my face for the first time. I also have 2 lipsticks that I want to try, and I just thought, look, let's see on first impressions what I think of this makeup. So this is the box that it came in, and like I said, I did order with Hayley. We did get a palette each and we got 2 lipsticks each. So one shade was one I really wanted, which was a red, and then the other one we decided to get a nude trio, which is a bit cheaper, and I got one of the nudes out of the nude trio and Hayley got the other 2. So this is what it looks like. So this is the box that it comes in. It's got a nice little like gold detailing. It's got ingredients and information on the back in a gold font. It expires after 18 months of opening. Of course, I'm gonna keep it for a lot longer than that, but made in Italy. And in this palette, which cost me around 200 Australian dollars, you get 13.2 grams of product. So it's not a heap amount. I think you get more than that in a naked palette as far as I'm aware, but it's more about the quality, right? Let's see. This packaging is kind of cool. So you have this like string opening where you open it up like that, and that's the palette inside. It's very, very shiny, and we're going to use it. We're going to use it today. It's very heavy. Ooh, felt like I nearly dropped it then. Comes with a card with the names on it, which is annoying. I sort of feel like it should be somewhere on the packaging so you don't have to keep this, but you see it's got 10 shades. So this is the actual box. It's very shiny, it's very fingerprinty, as you can see, and it's almost like when you get jewelry, they put their little like stamp on it. That's what this looks like, and then it's got like a reflective sort of gold back, and when you open it up, it does have a magnetic closure, so it's very heavy. It's not a good palette to travel with. I don't know why you would want to travel with a $200 palette, but those are the shades there. So they're very, very pretty. You can see off the bat, there's a big mirror, which is great. I'm just going to show you. The mirror actually is like, has an embossed sort of edge, so it looks like a frame rather than just a mirror. And hopefully you can see off the bat that there are sort of duochrome shades. So this shade here, this shade, and then you have a few mattes in there as well. So I'm getting a big vibe that this is sort of feels like, it's almost like a jewelry box. It's quite heavy, it's very luxe. I don't know if it necessarily needs to be this heavy, but it is a nice sleek palette. One thing that I don't really like about this packaging, doesn't bother me so much, but if you have multiples of these, the packaging's all the same and it's hard to tell what it is. On the back, that writing there is actually embossed, same as this. So it's very, very fancy. But here it says Mothership 5. So that's the only way you can tell which palette you're grabbing. And even then, it doesn't say the name, which is Bronze Seduction. So you sort of have to remember which one's which, and you have to look very carefully when you're grabbing them out of your drawer if you've got a few of them. All right, so what I've done today is I've just put the Bare Minerals Gen Nude primer in Lit just on my eyes. I've blended that out and I set the crease a little bit with a nude matte eyeshadow. I thought that's most appropriate. This doesn't have a matte nude in it, so I can't really set my makeup with this. But I just want to have a play and see what I think, just with a normal primer, just with my normal sort of routine, what I think about this. I do think the colors are beautiful. I love the addition of a purple because I love a purple to deepen up a look. It's so much nicer than a gray if you want a cooler tone look. But you have like the warm brown, you have some like a very, very vibrant red, you have some nice sort of shimmery, sparkly duochrome shades, but you have some traditional sort of shimmers as well. So I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I kind of want to try this shade here, which is called Rose Gold 005. So I want to use that as a base and see how easy it is to apply and get an intense look and then sort of build on things. Okay, picking that up just on a normal synthetic brush, picks up not too badly. I'm going to swatch it. There you go. It's beautiful swatched. It's like a, I don't know, bronzy, rosy color. I want to tap some on. So it's definitely just a loose sort of sparkly color. I'm going to put some on with a brush on this side. So yeah, I think these sort of shades definitely need a glitter glue because it just ends up looking like sparkle going everywhere, which it's not very intense sparkle, is it? And don't you hate it that as soon as you sort of use it, it sort of makes the pan ugly? No! All right, I'm gonna go in with Bronze Blaze here. I'm going to use that on the outer half of the lid, and then I'm gonna put some glitter glue and try to see if I can salvage some of these shades with some glitter glue. You probably won't be able to see this, but this is, once again, sort of very chunky, glittery shimmer. It's weird. No, I don't like, All right, Too Faced glitter glue, hopefully to the rescue. I do recommend that if you like really sort of sparkly looks or really intense shimmers, this is the type of product that you should have in your collection. I don't think you should have to use it with an eyeshadow, but generally if you want a sort of bold look, it's what you have to sort of do. So I'm just going to put a little bit just on the lid. All right, I've got a pretty old brush here. It's a flat sort of natural hair. I think it's a MAC brush. I don't know what number it's rubbed off, but this should be able to pack it on pretty well. Yeah, that's sticking a lot better with the glitter glue. Oh, it's gorgeous with the glitter glue. Nice, okay. It really does need to be applied with a glitter glue. But once you know that, it's really not a problem. You just use that instead of your normal primer. And the color is really pretty. It's like a bronzy, rosy color. Maybe a little bit extreme for just going to the shops, but it is very, very pretty. I'm tempted to use it all over the lid, but I won't. That did, once again, using it really disrupts the beautiful pan. So just, you know, what can you do? But that's a thing. So I'm going to go in with shade next to it. I might blend it out a little bit with this and then deepen it with that and then go with one of these sort of, maybe this really light shade as an inner corner highlight. That's more accurate of the colors there, that lighting there. All right, I'm just using the same brush because this brush is working pretty well. And let's just tap that brown. You can see the brown has a lot of sparkle in it as well. It's got a lot of gold sparkle. It's a pretty color, but once again, it's not your typical metallic, like shimmery shade. It's definitely a sparkle shade as well. All right, I'm gonna use a fluffy brush and use this shade and then deepen it a little bit with that shade. I'm really interested to see how their mattes go because, you know, you want a decent matte shade. Okay, considering that I didn't actually set the glitter glue, this is not too bad. It is skipping a little bit here, but once again, that could just very well be the fact that I didn't set it, but it is blending like pretty well considering. I don't know if it's like the most amazing matte, but it's a pretty color and it works really well with the other colors that I've put on the lid. Yeah, that's a beautiful brown and it's blended really easily under the circumstances. I'm sort of, yeah, I'm happy with the brown. I sort of would have liked to have seen a slightly lighter sort of transition color because this is the lightest matte in the palette, but it works really nicely. It works with the colors in the palette. I like it. I'm using a really cheap Morphe brush and the fact that this is working well is good. I'm gonna say though that this is very heavy. I feel like holding it up and using the mirror, I'm gonna have to put it down because I can feel it in my lower back. That's how heavy this is. With the same flat brush, I'm actually going to go in, I wanna try some more colors. I really wanna try this color here, which let's just do a little bit of a swatch. It's definitely a duochrome. You can see it almost has a nude tan base, but it goes like a greeny gold color, and then even, I don't know if you can see it, you probably won't, but on an angle it looks pink, so it's very, very pretty. Now I don't have any glitter glue on my lower lash line, but I want it to work on my lower lash line. It's pretty, there we go. So it definitely needs something to grip to because it's sort of just flying everywhere, but it's very sparkly, very pretty. So similar to how this is more of your rosy nude, this is your sort of, I don't know, greeny, sort of fun color. A lot of fallout, but nicely finely milled glitters that you can layer on top of other things. And I really also want to swatch this one here. Oh, that's really interesting. That is more of your iridescent sort of white to gold. I didn't expect that. That sort of looks a little bit like that. Probably not going to be able to tell on the hand. That's the white to gold one. It ends up looking very sparkly and very yellow, whereas the one that's like above it, yeah, above it in the palette, it has more of a bluey green color to it. You're not going to be able to see in this. So I'm going to take a little bit of this white shade here just on a brush and just put it on my inner corner. These are super, super sparkly. I am going to say that the problem with duochromes, this shade goes a lot better with the top color because it sort of, the gold blends a lot better than the green does, like with the colors. But I'm going to say that problem with duochrome and glittery shades is they never turn up well on camera. They just look like they're one color. They don't look as sort of vibrant and intense. So you won't be seeing sort of what I'm seeing in the differences in color. So yeah, that white color definitely has more of a gold sparkle to it, whereas that greeny one definitely looks more blue-green, which I probably shouldn't have put it on the lower lash line, but oh well, I did. I'm going to put some more of that brown on the lower lash line and I'm going to start putting some purple in and then we're going to start wrapping this up a bit. Okay, let's actually put some color down there since what I've just put on just seems like topper shades. So these mattes are really beautiful. I'm surprised at how much I like these mattes. All right, I've got some purple on this really cheap Morphe brush. Let's see if it looks great. I'm hoping it does. I'm starting really light with it because it's quite a dark purple. It's a beautiful shade though. You can see that it automatically like just adds a depth and a bit of smokiness, but it works really well with the brown. That's why I want to see more of these dark plummy purple mattes in palettes because a lot of palettes have a lot of browns and a lot of warm shades and these are the sort of colors that really deepen it effectively. You know, like really flattering, non-scary way, which is good. It's what you want. I feel like I'm covering up all that brown that I put on the outer corner, but You know, we're just playing around. All right, those mattes really saved this look. Beautiful depth, blends really nicely, nice amount of pigmentation, not powdery, not fallouty, just really nice to blend and really easy to smoke out a look. So yeah, I think the mattes are winner chicken dinner here. I've just got a bit of that rose gold and I'm going to just tap it to re-intensify the glitter because of all the sort of mattes that smoke it out. It loses some of the intensity. So let's put some back in. All right, there's a lot of glitter going on there. There's a lot of glitter fallout going on. So if you're going to use these products, you might want to do your base afterwards. I do find glitter fallout is not as bad as sort of like dark pigment fallout because at least if you brush this off, it doesn't smear onto your makeup. So if you did want to just go on over the top with a sponge with the leftover of your foundation, you can sort of cover it a little bit more and a bit of sparkle, like, look, it's not the worst thing in the world. If it was the dark shades that sort of rain down and you smear it and it goes all dark, that's what I really hate about fallout. But you know, sparkle, like glitter, you sort of expect it. So in the scheme of things, it's not a lot of fallout, it's sort of glitter fallout. All right, I'm just gonna put some wing liner on and then also do my mascara and then we'll get back and do the lips. All right, so that is the look. I've just put on some ColourPop gel liner in Swerve and I've just used, what mascara, where are you? And I've used a sample of the Steeler. This is the Huge Extreme Lash Mascara. So that's what I'm wearing, no lashes. I also put the gel liner on the waterline as well. So this eye look is super pretty. You can't be like, okay, that's an ugly look. Well, you can, but I think it's gorgeous. I think the colors are beautiful. Even the slightly green color that I put on the lower lash line, even though it didn't stick completely, it did stick well enough that you can see it. The rose is pretty. I love the sort of browny, purpley smokiness. I think it's a gorgeous look. And, you know, besides the fact there's a bit of teething, there's like trial and error with how to make it stick, which I'll talk about a little bit more when I sort of wrap this up. But I think this is a very successful look and it was done very easily. There wasn't much effort put into it. It was literally putting some glitter on, smoking it out a little bit in the outer corner and in the crease, and then patting a little bit more of the glitter on. It was very, very easy and very effective. All right, so even in the viewfinder, like I'm having a bad skin day. I've got a breakout from, I went on a flight last week and whenever I fly, my skin's like, you shouldn't fly. My eyes are really, really like, I can see from a distance that they look really effective. You have the dark, you have the brightness of the glitter. I think it doesn't even look so much like glitter. It sort of just looks like a very, very sparkly, sparkle is glitter, a very intense sort of shimmer. So it doesn't look like chunks of glitter. It just looks really smooth and beautiful. So I'm liking this. I am going to swatch more shades because I think that's what you sort of want to see. This is not a review of the palette. This is sort of like my first reaction to, oh, the cat's back and now she wants her bed. No worries. There we go. Back in your bed. All right, ignore the fact that I've got glitter almost permanently stuck onto my fingers. It is what it is. But the first shade in the palette is Skin Divine Show, which is, it's like it definitely has a gold or a yellow duochrome shift to it, but it's more of a traditional shimmer shade. We've got that brown that I used in the crease. This is Entrapment. That bronze that I used, which is Bronze Blaze. So let's swatch these guys. This is, once again, no primer. You can see that that's a very, very smooth formula. It's not super pigmented, but it gives a beautiful sheen. So that's probably a beautiful, like, everyday all over the lid color. This is that brown that applies really nicely. It doesn't look super, super pigmented on camera, but it applies beautifully. And there's that sort of sparkly brown that I was talking about. So you can see the chunks of glitter in it. It's like a really warm bronze. Hang on, I'll turn this down. Ha, there we go. It's like a really warm bronze with it packed full of gold glitter. So yeah, that's the colors there. They are very smooth to apply, but they don't look super pigmented, but I think it's interesting. This one's a really beautiful shade. I want to use that all over the lid by itself. Okay, the last two on the top row is the Rose Gold 005, which is what I used. It's very beautiful. And I have VR Fire Opal, which is that sort of the one that I used on the lower lash line that looks more green. We'll see the comparison to the one below it soon, but this is the rose gold. So you can see it's mainly shimmer. It sort of reminds me of a powder version of a Steel and Magnificent Metal Glitter and Glow. That's exactly what that's like. It needs something to stick to the skin, but it's gorgeous. And then that is that sort of duochrome. You can see it's like a yellowy orange color, but it goes to more of a, maybe like a turquoise teal color. It's not quite green. It's got definitely blue hues to it. So you can see that these are very, very promising, but they might need the right base to stick to. All right, this is the second row, and we've got Extreme Aubergine, which I used in the crease or the outer corner. This is the smoothest to pick up on the finger. Touching the pan it's like touching butter. Then we have the shade Guilty Pleasure, which reminds me a little bit of that sort of bronze color, but it's more cool toned, maybe a bit deeper. And we have Disobedient, which is a chocolate brown that we didn't use. This is more of a reddy brown. So if you want more of a cooler look, you use this. If you want a bit of a warmer look, you use that. And let's apply. So that is, once again, if you saw that, you're like, that applies like crap. But it actually swatches like crap and tends to pick up on itself when it's swatched. Here, there we go, a bit better. See, once again, it looks horrible, but it applies beautifully. Swatches aren't everything. They're just an indication of color. This is gorgeous. This is much prettier than I expected it to be. It looks very cool toned in the pan, but it looks like a nice sort of taupey brown version of this. Maybe less chunky glitter. This is something I'd use on my lid every day. This is sort of like an everyday work look. You can mix it with the purple. You can mix it with this brown, which once again, swatches like crap. But I'm going to say that from the experience of this, I think it's going to apply beautifully with a brush. So these are just, once again, color indications. And this is just me wiping my fingers off after the swatches. Look how much pigment is in that purple one. So yeah, it doesn't apply well onto just dry skin with fingers, but you can tell it's got pigment, and you can hopefully tell by how I applied it that it works really well. Okay, last two, and these are pretty much what I think are like Christmas colors, so it's perfect time of the year. We have this one here, which is Blitz Flame. We didn't use this. I am going to say that this feels very different picking it up. It's like a metallic. It doesn't have glitter. It's like a foiled eyeshadow. It doesn't actually have chunks of glitter. So when you touch the pan, it doesn't look as chunky. It's very, very smooth. Then we have that one that almost looks like a bluey white in the pan, and this is Astral Lunar Gold. So it's got almost like a duochrome. It's like goldy green, but it's also got a bluey white to it. It's really interesting. But let's do this one first because that's order. Oh, holy moly. That is gorgeous. I sort of wanted one of these sort of brownie ones to be that sort of metallic formula. Instead, they're more glittery, but it's pretty. And there's that one there. So you can see that that is like the perfect topper shade. It's got that sort of white blue base, but then it catches very, very, yeah, greeny gold. Very different from this. This is more of, I don't know, like an orange to greeny blue, and that's more of a cool toned white, blue, pinky color to a gold. Really, really interesting, but they're very pretty. All right, so before I sort of conclude what I think of the eyeshadow palette, I'm going to try the lipsticks. I'm going to try them both. I'll show you which ones I got, and I might try the red on first, take it off, and then put the nude on, because I think this look is quite like OTT as it is for everyday wear. I am going to go out later, so I think I might want the nude one instead, and I sort of want to see how that one wears. Reds tend to wear a lot better than nudes. I want to see how the nude goes. So I've got Elson 2, which is a newer shade. Elson 1, I think, was more of your true red, maybe more of a blue toned red. This is more of an orange toned red. And then I've got Flesh 3, which is a deep nude that came in a pack of 3 nudes. So once again, they got fancy boxes. Each shade has like a different design on them, which is really fancy. And once again, you sort of open it with this string mabobba. Oh, no, that was a slip. Thank God. I thought I dropped my lipstick. You get a little slip that has the ingredients. So instead of putting the ingredients on the box, they've got a little slip. Then like a little coffin or toy box or something, you open that and it's in there. So the packaging is super luxe. It's got lips on it. It feels very sort of heavy. and you get 4 grams of product, which is not bad. A standard lipstick is generally around 3 grams, so you get a bit of product in here. And let's have a look at the red. I haven't looked at this yet, so okay, that is a beautiful red. I also want to point out that, now you're probably not going to be able to see, but it's almost got a velvet finish to it. So it almost looks like a powdery look to it. So a lot of lipsticks, whether they're matte or they're not, and this is a matte lipstick, they have generally a sheen to the outer look of the lipstick. Like it looks like a smooth bullet. This almost looks like it's been sandblasted or it's been flocked. It's got like a velvet finish to it, and that wouldn't have been done by accident. They would have probably taken these out of the mold and then done something to it to make it look that matte, because that is not something that you usually see. Now I'm going to just apply it because I want to. I do have like no lip balm on. My lips are just a little bit like dry, but I this is how I apply lipstick, so I want to see how it goes. All right. Okay, nice and smooth. Nice pigmentation. It applies a nice thin amount, so it's not thick or heavy, which is really good. And let's just do. All right, it's a beautiful shade. It applies very easily. Yeah, once you do sort of use it, that outer almost textured appearance does sort of smooth out. So yeah, I think they did something to the outside to make it look more impressive. These are just the extra touches that they put in to make these lipsticks look extra special for the price point. But it feels very comfortable. It's a beautiful color. It glides over the dry patches that I had sort of on the sides of my lips really easily. And it's not thick. It sort of just, it feels powdery to the touch. So it's like a lot of people are comparing MAC's new powder matte formula or powder something formula. Powder kiss, whatever it is. There's a new MAC formula that's coming out and people are saying that it sort of looks like this. Does transfer because it is very comfortable. It's not like a drying matte. It feels like it's dry. It feels like it's sort of thin and powdery to the touch, but it still on the lips feels quite creamy. It smooths over the dry patches really easily, and I didn't need to like layer this up. This was literally one coat. Very nice feeling. I'm not sure how it wears, but it looks cool. It feels really nice. All right, now for the nudie one, which, let's open this up. Fancy, 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 fancy. So much fanciness. I don't know how to cope. This is in the shade Flesh 3. So once again, fancy packaging. This is more of a brownie nude. This one you can see it's almost like the mattifying ingredients has like leaked out a little bit and made it look a little bit hazy. I'm not too concerned about that, but it doesn't look as schmick as you would want it to for the price tag. So yeah, there's that. But let's try this color. It looks quite dark for a nude, but I'm hoping it's a really nice nude. Oh, it is a nice nude. It's a nice brownie nude. Oh, that's a pretty color. So, oh, it's got a nice snap too when you, it's not magnetic, but nice. Okay, this nude is beautiful. It's quite dark, so Flesh 3. There are a lot of like lighter ones, but this one, like I said, it came in a pack and we thought, okay, we'll get the pack of 3. Hayley can have 2 nudes, I'll have 1. And this is a beautiful color. It's a very unique color. I have a lot of colors that are sort of similar to this, but not quite like this. I've got a lot that are sort of almost more brown or more, I don't know, this has a nice sort of rosiness to it. And I have tried colors that are sort of similar to this, but a lot of them are liquid lipstick formats. They're not the nice bullet lipsticks that wear a lot better. So whenever I've sort of tried a color like this, I always associate it with sort of like flaking off in the inner part of the lips after you eat and wearing off patchy. So it's nice to see a color like this in a really beautiful formula, because yeah, it's a very, very nice color. It goes well with the eyes. I like it. I'm wearing it today. I might check in a bit later to let you know how the eyes and the lips are going, because this is not like a full review, but I'm curious myself. But I love this color. I think, once again, the pigmentation's really nice. You have to put the smallest amount on, and the benefit of some higher end lipsticks, like you're spending a lot more than you would on a normal sort of mid-range lipstick. But the good thing is that if you only use a small amount, because it doesn't need to be built up, and this was like the smallest amount to apply, you don't need to use as much of it. And then if it does wear well, which we'll see soon, then you don't need to reapply as often. So sometimes if you look at how much you need to apply, often higher end lipsticks can be quite good value. Now, I'm not saying everyone should go out and buy these lipsticks because they're goddamn expensive, but they are goddamn pretty. So we'll see how this one wears. I do want to say though, this one's not completely matte. I've seen like there's a bit of a sheen to it, but I don't mind because it gives that sort of a matte effect, but it is really comfortable to wear. Okay, so what are my thoughts after using Pat McGrath for the first time? I do want to point out that these are by far the most expensive items I have in my makeup collection. This is the most expensive eyeshadow palette I own. The lipsticks are probably the most I've ever spent on one lipstick. So, you know, it is a very costly. I'm going to say that I'm not wowed, but I'm not disappointed. Alrighty, so I've had this makeup on for about, probably about 4 hours. The lipstick's not looking bad. I've had a couple of drinks, I've had lunch, I actually had leftover pasta. So the fact that like a creamy pasta has not worn it away too much. You can see that like it's a little bit worn on the inner part, but I'm about to go out and I don't feel the need to touch up. It does feel a lot more set and less transfery than it did before. And you can see a little bit that it's sort of like a really thin liquid lipstick. That's how it's set down to. Eye makeup, let's have a look. It's looking just as sort of sparkly and sparkluckly and as vibrant as it has previously, but you know, it's 4 hours and I'm using glitter glue and primer, so I'm sort of expecting it to last pretty well. I wish I was in direct sunlight so you can see the sparkle. Nah, can't really do it. All right guys, so I've been wearing this lipstick for about 6 or 6.5 hours, no touch-ups, and it's looking good. Like, it's still on. You can still, like, it's worn off a little bit, but like worn off quite naturally. Yeah, it still looks like I'm wearing lipstick. So this looks good. This does not look good. Oh well. But yeah, I'm sure, you know, at dinner this will wear off badly, but I think this just shows, oh, and the eyeshadows are looking, look at them, sparkle, sparkle. What I sort of wanted to go for today was a shimmery brown look, and I wanted to test it with just a normal primer that hasn't been set, because when I tried this yesterday, as you saw, it didn't work on set primer, but it worked really well on glitter glue. And I thought, okay, for a palette that's $200, I sort of expect the shimmery shades to work in a more everyday friendly way and not just rely on glitter glue. But I do find that I think I still have to. So I used, not that shade, this shade today. I wanted to use it just all over the lid. And I don't know if you can see, I might zoom in. It sort of just looks like a standard brown, and I even think most of the brown is the matte. So you can see that nothing really is happening here. And so to sort of add a bit more dimension, I added on once again sort of that gold color, which you can see is like most of the sparkle on my eye. I still think the mattes perform really nicely. I think they're good to sort of smoke up a look, complete a look. I used that shade, and that shade, mainly those two, and then I added a little bit of purple in the crease. But look, I'm not loving the shimmers. I feel like this is also really rough. I'm not sure if you can see, but I did put my finger in it so I can tap it on to even make it more intense. And I found that it's sort of like starting to crumble. So it's one of those sort of crumbly formulas. It reminds me a little bit of maybe a more refined version of that weird chunky, not chunky, but that pressed glitter shade in the Huda Desert Dusk palette, the one down the bottom. So it's like pressed glitter, and if you disrupt it, it kind of flakes away. That's what I'm sort of vibing with this one, which I'm not loving. But I will continue to use it, and I will continue to probably document how I'm going with it, because I think that's sort of important to know. I do want to say that I'm wearing the red lipstick today. The lipstick yesterday, I wore it for about, I think it was about 7 hours until it was like, I'm going to the gym and I should probably take this off. And it did start wearing away a little bit at that point, but it does wear a long time. They sort of remind me of, they're sort of creamy to put on and then they settle down to what sort of feels like a thin liquid lipstick format. So this feels a little bit dry, sort of, I want to take it off and put a lip balm on now, but this is worn really well. So once again, I don't know what time it is. Who knows? I think it's about 6. So I've had this on for once again about, I think I put this on after lunch at about 12:30. So I've had it on for about 5.5 hours and it looks good. The lipsticks wear really well. And the eyeshadows, I'm sort of on the fence about. So tomorrow I am just editing at home. So generally I wear very little makeup. I might catch up with my mum for a coffee. So I might try to use this palette in a more sort of wearable way. So I might try to use that sort of color with some of the mattes and see how that goes. And then maybe on Thursday I'll branch out and wear that red. So I might come back and keep documenting how I'm going with it, because until I sort of form a proper opinion, I don't want to end this video. So this is just the look today. It looks a bit chunky and a little bit over the top. So for me, like I have had it on for, I did my eyes way before I did my lipstick. So I've had this on since about 11 or 11:30 this morning. And I just feel like it's a lot. So I think putting the glitter on there to sort of compensate for the lack of brown glitter, I just feel like it feels heavy and sort of chunky. So yeah, I'll play around a bit more tomorrow and check in. Hey guys, so it's back for roller coaster of emotions when it comes to this palette. So so I've gone today with that shimmer shade here, which looks sort of cream in the pan, but it does go on with a bit of a gold sheen or yellow gold sheen. And then I just sort of deepened it up with a bit of that brown and then a little bit more on the lower lash line with this brown here. So that's all I've done today. It's just over a normal primer. And I don't love it. So I was sort of expecting this is going to be a really bomb shade. It's like a shimmer shade, you know, even NYX can make really nice shimmery shades. And I found this one didn't really do much for me. I will zoom in later so you can see, but I found that it was a bit, it kind of applied to the eye a little bit patchy. It sort of looks a little bit chalky. I don't really see much shimmer in it. It sort of could be, it sort of reminds me of, in the Urban Decay After Dark palette, there's that one sort of whitey cream shade that shifts same kind of yellow, and it just sort of on the eyes looks a little bit chalky and a little bit powdery. I feel like it does that. I did put it on my brow bone highlight because I figure that this is what this shade is designed for. It doesn't look great packed on, but if you brush it on really lightly with a fluffy brush, it actually adheres to the skin a lot more evenly and you can see more of the reflection. So the problem is if you try to pack this on, it looks very powdery, but if you sort of wash it on, you can see more of the light reflection. So this might be better just with literally doing no makeup, probably even no base, because the base makes it stick in different ways. Just put it on with a fluffy brush to get a slight sheen. And I've done that up here, so I feel like it's more designed for brow bone highlights, but I hate shimmery brow bone, so I'm really struggling. I find this shade, yeah. I'm still finding that the mattes in this palette are looking to be better than the shimmers. I will try this and I will try some more shimmers and I will conclude this, but the more I use it, the more I kind of realize that it's not everyday friendly. So I don't know if you can see on the eyes, it's just not exciting. I find that, like, probably on this one you can see a bit better. It sort of clings to certain areas but looks kind of patchy, like it doesn't exist on other areas. And I don't think this is worth $20 an eyeshadow in my opinion. The mattes were nice, but yeah, I don't love it. All right, so on my eyes today, I'm using sort of like the last shades that I hadn't used. I'm using this shade here, which is more of It looks like a cool tone sort of taupe, but actually on the eyes, it looks a little bit chocolatey. Let me have a look. It sort of looks like, it's got a bit of green in it. I did blend it out. Oh, my brows are unruly. Stay in place, sir. I did blend this out with that sort of caramel brown, so it did add a lot of warmth, you can see through there. But the brown itself is sort of like a soft chocolate brown. It's got a little bit of old gold shimmer in it, so it's not as cool toned as it looks in the pan. So if you saw this and thought, oh, that looks kind of grey green, that kind of looks taupe, it actually looks a lot nicer on the eye than I expected. I did apply this with glitter glue. I did have to, because these just don't work without glitter glue. And that's the thing that sort of frustrates me, because I would have loved this color to be sort of like these two colors there. I feel like along with this kind of six pan palette here, six pan section, I feel like these could have been everyday eyeshadows. So if you did invest your money in this palette and you're like, okay, I don't want it to just be a special occasion palette. I want to be able to wear this to work. I want really wearable looks. I feel like these two kind of shades are the ones that I would wear all over the lid. So if I want a warmer shade, I go this. If I want a slightly cooler shade, I go that. But it just doesn't end up that way. So it just doesn't work over normal primer. It definitely doesn't work on set primer. It doesn't work without primer. So today I did put glitter glue down, and that's why it's looking quite dark and quite bold. And you can tell when I'm wearing bold eye makeup, it makes the rest of me look pale AF. Even though I've bronzed, you can't tell because my eye makeup is quite dark. Now, I didn't actually wear much liner. I just put a brown liner on, like a pencil liner, and I didn't actually put any lashes on, so you can really kind of see. I was going to leave it just as at the shimmery brown, so I was just going to leave it at those two because I think that's like a cool pair. That's a nice pair on a daily basis, right? But then I decided I didn't want to extend this test any further. Like I said before, I have to get back to my 1 month 1 palette. So I decided to use this sort of beautiful red metallic shade on the lower lash line. And originally I was like, what have I done? But I'm sort of coming around to it. I think the nice brown with the pop of sort of metallic red, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. So I can confidently say I really like this formula. This is super, super smooth. It applies like a foiled eyeshadow. It's really beautiful, easy to apply. I put no primer on my lash line, on the lower lash line. So this is just put over bare skin. It's this and that on the lower lash line. So I put the sort of brown on the outer half, and then I put the red on the inner half, and I really like it. All right, so today I decided to sort of revisit the first shade that I tried, that rose gold shade, and see if I actually can pare it down and make it a little bit more daily wearable, because when I first tried this was a shade that I was like, oh, this would be a nice everyday glitter shade, but I found that I sort of had to put it on with glitter glue. So today I'm wearing this shade here, which you can see I've used quite a bit. The pan just gets messier and messier. And I've used this shade there, and that's about it. So that's what I've got on my eyes today. And I am wearing this with a NARS eyeshadow primer. This is in the shade Light. And what I pretty much did with this was put this on, tap it in with my finger. I sort of set the crease with a cream eyeshadow, a single cream eyeshadow, and then straight away I sort of put on the glitter. So it did stick reasonably well. I do think, once again, the chunks of glitter are sort of too big to wear on a sort of everyday basis, in my opinion. I do like glitter on a daily basis, but I wouldn't be able to reach for the glitters in this palette to wear to work or to go somewhere serious, because I just feel like that it is obvious glitter. And I like to compare it to sort of one of my favorite everyday glitter shades, which is MAC Stylishly Merry, which came out last Christmas. And even though this is a duochrome, you can see it goes pink to gold, like yellow gold. It is like a heavy duochrome. The glitter is so finely milled that you can put it on without any primer. It just creates this beautiful shine, this wash effect. And this is sort of my expectations for expensive pressed duochrome glittery shades. I feel like it's got to be this finely milled. I think it's got to adhere to the skin as well as this did on my clean hand. And then you've got the benefit of sort of washing it on lightly without it looking fallouty and chunky. And then if you want to pack it on a little bit more, you can make it a little bit more intense. And then if you want to make it very, very intense, you can put it under on top of a glitter glue. That's sort of what I expect from an everyday glitter. That's sort of my standard. That's what I like. Now comparing that to this glitter, which is a lot more chunky, it's a beautiful color, it's got great potential. You'll see that it is probably doesn't stick as well just to the hand. This has a beautiful sheen. This has like chunks. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. One is very smooth, one looks very sparkly. It's got a bit of a base color, and then the rest sort of just flakes off and brushes off, whereas this one, it just sticks and it looks really, really gorgeous. So even though the glitters in here look gorgeous over a glitter glue, and yes, you can get some effect over a normal primer if you put it on straight away while it's sort of tacky, they don't impress me. So yeah, even though I did manage to make this rose gold color stick on my eyes today and make it quite a pretty look, I do see there are chunks of glitter going wherever it wants to go. It's going up to my brow bone, it's going out to the corner. It's sort of flakes of glitter that's just going wherever it wants to go. So even though you can sort of wear it in a more subtle way like I've got today, I still feel like it is obvious glitter, and I feel like it really limits the ways you can wear it. So for me, with this palette, after wearing every shade in here, after wearing it for 5 days, and I know that's not enough to get a really, really comprehensive idea of a palette, but it's enough to give a good like first impressions and demonstrate what I've got issues with. I feel like half of this palette is going out shades for me. So my main issue with this palette is that the glitters aren't versatile. They look like they're versatile colors. You've got wearable, wearable, wearable. You've got some sort of topper transformer colors, but the formula isn't as versatile as something like this, where you can just put a wash on, get a pretty look. If you just put a wash of one of these on, you just get flaky glitter everywhere. It doesn't really stick to the eye. You really need to pack it on, and it turns into a very bold, very chunky, sparkly look. So for me, they were a bit disappointing. I expected them to be a bit more refined and a bit more versatile. The next formula that I've been disappointed in, and I talked about it, is this shade here. I just find it a very, very bland shimmer. It barely does anything for my eyes. It sort of looks a little bit chalky, and this place would have been way better off just having a cream matte, because I do find that the matte formula is very, very nice, and I would have liked to have seen this be a matte. It means you can sort of mix it with the other shades to create sort of lighter looks as well. I just feel like it would have been a better use of space if it was a better formula being a matte. So the formula I was impressed with was the mattes. I think they're really, really nice to use. They swatch like crap, but they apply really nicely on the eye. I would have liked to see more of them. And I really liked this foiled shade here. Too bad bright red sort of foiled shades aren't really something I would comfortably wear on a daily basis, but the formula is beautiful. It's very, very buttery. It's almost creamy. So to be honest, this palette would have been a lot more everyday wearable if they made this and this shade in this formula, because that sort of metallic, beautiful look would be gorgeous in those brown and sort of warm bronzy shades. I think it would have made this palette a lot more everyday wearable. So I think if they did change the sort of finish of those 3 shades, what you could have had is 6 shades here that are very, very like everyday wearable. You can wear them to work, you can wear them to church, you can wear them to a funeral, you can wear them to court, you can wear them to your in-laws' house, you can wear them anywhere. That'd be beautiful formulas, and you can get some really nice looks out of these shades here. And then you've got the fun shades, the duochromes, the metallic red, the nice, beautiful, glittery rose gold. And these shades would be like fun shades, ways to add little pops of glitter, ways to add little pops of duochrome. If you're going out, you can layer some of these, you can reach for these when you want a bit of fun. So you've got majority wearable and then the rest fun. But as it is, for me, I really like 4 shades when it comes to the formula, and I like all the colors in here. I think the color choices are great. I just don't like the chunky glitter. And I think my problem was that my expectations were that it was going to be a bunch of shades like this in this formula, and it isn't. It just isn't. And I think for the price point, if I knew that this was going to be a very sparkly, heavy looking palette with you have to have very bold glitter on your eyes. It's sort of like the equivalent of using Stila Magnificent Metal Glitter and Glow all over your lid in various shades. Like, it is a beautiful look, but you don't want to use that every single day. And that's coming from a glitter lover. If you don't like glitter, you will hate this palette. So I feel like that this palette, for me, there are some pros to it, and I'm glad that I tried it. Is it worth 200 Australian dollars, 125 US dollars? For me, no. I also think that the packaging is quite excessive. It's very heavy. It doesn't even bend all the way out, so you're kind of restricted with how you use it. I feel like this is more of a show piece than it is a practical piece, and that's not really how I like my makeup. I do like special makeup. I do like nice packaging. This is a nice packaging, but it's as lightweight and normal as a MAC eyeshadow is, and I feel like you don't need as much packaging and sort of like fluff and extra packaging as what Pat McGrath has gone to, because I feel like it's a way for her to justify the prices. Instead, yeah, I would prefer something a little bit more sleek and a little bit more, I don't know, user-friendly. So yeah, that's what I think of the eyeshadow palette. I'm not upset that I bought it, but I do think that a lot of people were saying that this is the best one they've tried out of all the eyeshadow palettes, and if that's the case, I don't want to try the other eyeshadow palettes because it is too much for me. Maybe once a month when I'm going out to a birthday, I'll be like, pack on that brownie gold color, but I may as well just buy a Stila Magnificent Metal for $30 or something instead of buying a $200 palette. All right, when it comes to lipsticks, I am wearing Flesh 3 today. I don't mind these lipsticks. I feel like the packaging, even though it is kind of sturdy and it's very sort of like it's a heavier bullet, I feel like this is a lot more practical than how heavy this palette is. It fits all in the theme, I get it, but I feel like, you know, it takes up the same amount of space. It doesn't feel like it's flimsy, so I'm fine with the money that, or the effort spent on the packaging here. I feel like the formula, I quite like. It's not my favorite formula. It applies quite nicely. It is very thin, like I said. It does wear quite a long time, which I like. The only downside I have to it is the fact that I find that after hours and hours of wear, almost like a liquid lipstick, like a thin liquid lipstick that's nicely pigmented. Oh, here's the boogie. I feel like it does tend to gather a little bit and dry a little bit on the inner corner. So after a while, it's sort of like if you're wearing a matte liquid lipstick for a long time, you have that urge to want to scrub it off and put a lip balm on. I get that with these. I don't often get that with other matte lipsticks. So that's probably the one downside to these. So there are pros and cons with the formula, but there are more pros than there are cons. I do like the lipstick. If I was placing another Pat McGrath order, I would probably chuck another one in the cart, but I wouldn't go out of my way to buy a bunch more of these just to buy them. I find that there are better lipstick formulas in store. I find that this is a good lipstick formula, but I wouldn't want to pay $15 shipping. I wouldn't want to take the risk of not knowing what the shade is exactly like because I'm relying on website photos and marketing photos. So for me, I think I'm happy that I've got these two and I will use them happily, but it's not going to make me go, oh my God, I love this formula so much, I need to order all of them, because it's not that great. It's nice, it's not that great. I do think though that the price point of this is pretty accurate. You're getting 4 grams of product, you're getting nice packaging, you're getting a really nice long wear formula. So I do think it's worth the money. It's just, I feel like with the two that I've got, I'm happy with them. And I don't want to like take a gamble with shades online. Like if these were in store and I was swatching them all and there was one shade that I'm like, oh my God, I need that, I will happily buy it again. It's a nice formula. Yeah, to go out of my way to order just for these, I wouldn't do it. So yeah, that's my journey with Pat McGrath makeup. I'm not really impressed, but at the same time, I'm not disappointed. I do think bang for your buck, the lipsticks are better. I think the eyeshadows will come down to how much you like a very glittery, bold eye. I think there are some formulas in here that are fantastic. I just wish that this, like I bought this thinking, yep, I can wear this during the day. I can wear this on subtle makeup days. I can wear it, really go crazy with some colors and some duochrome glitters. And I feel like it's not what I expected. It is just a going out palette, and it's quite difficult to create a pared down, non-flaky, glittery eyeshadow look, which yeah, I expected it to be a little bit more refined and easy to wear. The last thing I do think is worth mentioning about the palette that I think is a little bit deceptive, in my opinion anyway, is that when you do look at it, you go, oh, these big pans, you contain a lot of product, they're massive, you know, you're paying $12.50 US, you're paying $20 Australia each pan, but you're getting so much product, right? Wrong. On the packaging, this says there are 1.32 grams per shade, and I wanted to point out the equivalent. So Urban Decay, one shade is 1.3 grams. So yeah, you're getting less than a naked palette for 3 times the price in Australia. So for me, I don't think this is worth the praise that it's getting online, unfortunately. All right, that's it. Hopefully you didn't hate this style of checking in and trying different things and how do I feel as I go. I originally wanted to make this just a first impressions. This is what I think of it. This is a video of someone trying a really expensive brand for the first time, and was I impressed? Was I shocked? Was I disappointed? What was I? And because I left being like, I don't really know, I'm a bit confused by this palette, I thought this required a lot of checking in and to let you know over time what I felt about this, because first impressions often are very accurate, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but when you're using something for the first time, generally your initial reaction of this applies well, this looks good, this wears well, this, you know, generally that does last and that is pretty accurate. However, if you have a palette like this, where the shades are all very, very different, like the mattes, the metallics, the glitters, and that sort of satiny finish one are all very different formulas, you can't use your first impression to sort of make an assumption about the whole palette until you've used the whole palette. So even though I feel like my first impression of putting the glitter on and being like, oh, this didn't go on, and then putting it on with glitter glue and going, this is gorgeous, is accurate. It is gorgeous with glitter glue, but without glitter glue and making it more pared down, it's very difficult to do. And yeah, that's sort of how I felt when I first tried it on, but I wanted to try all the shades to really cement whether or not I still felt that way. And I do, unfortunately. It was, yeah, it's a difficult one, but hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, beautiful boy. Are you sniffing me?